Hi, this is Miss Tricia coming at you live from the Cascade branch of Kent District Library. We've got Mr. Wade here today for Draw Club. It's going to be pretty cool. We're doing graphic novel, a short one today. Um, yeah, so that'll be really good. I do want to encourage you to go to kdl.org/teens and check out our site. We've got the Teen Film Festival coming up, so check out details for that. We'd love to see some of your entries. That's for grade 6 through 12. And without further ado, here's Mr. Wade.
Woohoo! How's everybody doing? Nice to see you all. Here's the deal. We are going to be drawing a full 4-page graphic story today. So you will need a pencil. You will need a sheet of paper. And we're going to take that sheet of paper and fold it over sideways. Okay, so that it opens like a book. Then we'll have a center spread, and then we'll have a back page back here. So go ahead and if you've got a white sheet of paper and a pencil, please feel free to flip your or fold your paper over and get that ready. And before we start, I just want to say that we're going to do a fairly simple graphic novel because we only have a short period of time and we don't know all the ages of everybody attending. So we're going to start this out and give you all the principles you need in order to draw your own graphic novel later on. So we're going to use the whole page of every page, and we're going to talk about different graphic storytelling conventions, and then we're going to go from there and build something that's kind of fun. So this is the glorified stick figure graphic novel in 1 hour. Let's do it. Up here on the top, because this is only a 4-pager, we want to make a title. All right? And so this title is going to be about an owner and the dog of the owner. I don't know if you're going to be making the owner a boy or a girl. That's up to you. But in the end, we're going to make it the owner and the dog. It's a story about them. So up on the top, we want to have a place where we indicate that this is our title area. We want people to know a little of what's going on. So we're going to draw a very light line across here. And up above that is where we're going to put our title, kind of on an angle. Now, this happens, let me zoom in just a little bit. This happens to be a story about an owner and the dog is kind of combative, likes to fight. And in the old days, a name for a dog was Fido, F-I-D-O. But we're going to call our dog and the story's title Fido, F-I-G-H-T, -O. So in order to make a title up here, we're going to start with stick figure letters. We're going to write F, I, G, H, T, -O. Like that. So now it looks like 8-0 kind of like this, but we're going to erase this line on the bottom. Whenever we draw any lines right now, we're going to draw them super light. I should have said that before we drew that little line in there, but we draw them lightly so we can erase them. Now it looks like Fido. We're going to take 2 more minutes to make Fido a little bit thicker. So we're going to come out and make parallel lines with our original lines and make parallel lines with our side lines. So this looks like a fatter letter now, and we're going to erase where our original lines went through there. So now this is kind of like a title. It's got a thickness to it. Then we're going to do the same thing for our I. And a nice big dot on the top. And feel free to clean some of the lines up on the side. If it gets a little bit thick here and there, you can clean them up. I'm just going to keep plowing through because we've got a lot to draw. So we're going to curve around here and then do a parallel line inside like that. And down, up, and around. So there's our G, and I'm going to erase any of those little pencil lines inside that are kind of left behind. And if that means that I hit the edge and I erase some of my G, I go back over top of that. When you're drawing on your own, you've got lots of time. Take the time to erase a little bit and get it right. Oh, I see a little note here. I'm going to go mute the volume of the drawing computer. I must be echoing. I'm sorry. One moment. And we're back. Is that better? Can you guys still hear me? Maybe? No? Perfect. Okay, that's good. I was checking out the chat over there in order to make sure this is good. Okay, so we got FIGH. Hopefully you guys are just continuing on while I'm messing with the sound over there. Just keep making thicker lines around those original stick lines that we drew. Okay, same thing over here. And you'll notice that once you do those little rectangles and curved parallel lines and you erase, it starts to look like actual sort of thicker, more dimensional words. So we've got fight, and then I'm going to go dash. Oh, now, if we were doing a longer graphic novel course, you guys would see that there are lots of different things that we could do with titles to add like shadow on the sides or add dynamism to it, something in it that relates to the actual story. But for right now, we're going to stick with a pretty simple Fido as our title up here. You may want to separate it from the rest of this if you want to take a little line that curves across and then gets thinner and thinner as you go. So it's kind of like a separator from the main flow of the story down here. That's fine. Now, I have a story that I have preceded that you guys are going to draw with me, but you can use these same techniques with anything. When we start out drawing, we are going to end up establishing where we're at here. This is called an establishing shot. We want to use a fair amount of space to let people know, let the reader know where we are and who the characters are and where we're starting from. And then if we want to, we can add more down here. And as a matter of fact, since we are going to add more down here, I'm going to bring my paper up and I'm going to make a little frame down here, but it's not big at all. It's only about 1.5 to 2 inches high down here. Okay, try as best you can to make straight up and down lines on either side. And then again, I'm going to tilt my paper sideways and I'm going to try very hard to make a straight line going across. Now, some people are awesome at straight lines and some people, you know, they need some work, and that's okay. I'm kind of in between. I don't do awesome straight lines, but I get by. If yours doesn't look perfectly straight, no graphic novel has to be perfectly straight. So it's okay. So we've got Fido, and now we've got our space for our second frame down here. Let's come up into this main area, and we're going to draw a little background, and we're going to draw our characters out in the middle here. So I'm going to start by coming right in the middle, and I'm going to make a dot. Okay? See that little tiny dot right there? Let me zoom in on that. Okay? And that dot is going to be our vanishing point. It's at a height that would be called our horizon line, but I don't want to erase my horizon line right now, so we're just going to leave the little dot right in the middle. And from that, we're going to build a kind of a three-dimensional little town where our characters live. So I'm going to take from this dot, I'm going to make an angle that comes off over here. Boom. And I'm going to make an angle that comes off over here, like this. All right, looks kind of like the mouth of Pac-Man. And then right next to the edge here, I'm going to draw a straight up and down line. I'm going to go back in a ways. This is going to be a storefront or a business or apartment buildings, and I'm going to draw a straight up and down line there. And I'm going to go a little ways away for the space in between buildings, and I'm going to draw a straight up and down line here. You try and make it parallel with the side of your page. Right now, it just looks like a triangle with little lines in it. But we can make a few of these, and then we've got a bunch of little buildings in a street. Okay, so that looks like a bunch of little buildings on a street. We're going to erase in between those buildings. All right. Now, all of these buildings are the same size. And in almost any town, that's never going to be the case. So maybe we'll start from this little dot right here, which is our vanishing point, and we'll come out and we'll make the top of one of these a little bit smaller. Okay, so we're going to cut off the top of that one. All right. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to make the top of one of these a little bit taller. So we're going to come out here and make a line that comes down to our vanishing point that goes up over top here. And we're going to extend our tall lines like this. And we're going to erase inside where we had that other roof line before. So now look, we've got a bunch of little squares that kind of represent the front of a set of houses or buildings, shops or stores. And we have to make the back side of those. So we're going to take and go straight across, horizontal, flat like this. To a certain point, we're going to make the back end of that store. And the back end of this store goes straight across. And the back end of this store goes straight across off the paper. And the back end of this store and the back end of this store. Now look, it looks like we've got a bunch of little boxes over on this side. That's kind of where we're going to leave it for the moment. And then we're going to come over to this side and we're going to draw another little line out this way. Now we could do the exact same thing. We could make a line of houses over here, but I think it'd be fun to come over here and make a line of trees. So we're going to start up close to us and we're going to draw two little lines like this, and then we're going to go a little ways back and draw two little lines. And then we're going to go a little ways back and make them a little closer and a little closer and a little closer. And we're drawing lines together all the way through here. Okay, let me zoom in just a tiny bit more on that. So we use this line to draw the base of our trees as if they'd been planted in a line. And then we're going to go ahead and erase that line. That line that we used to show us where we were building our trees goes away. But the trees still stay there. And then on the top, we're going to kind of generally draw a line out like this that is the tops of our trees. So we're going to go and make a little squiggly circle for a tree, little squiggly circle for a tree, little squiggly circle for a tree, and we keep on doing that. Now this first frame is taking us a little bit longer, and we will add more detail later, but we want to get sort of a sense of where we are. We're in a town. We can add clouds, we can add all sorts of things, little skyscrapers in the background, or a beach over here, or something like that. But this gives us an establishing shot of where we are. We are in town. Now, we have to draw our main characters. And we're going to draw a little circle like this for our main character. We're going to draw a little body like this, which is just a little rectangle that kind of bows out a little bit, or a little trapezoid down here. We're going to draw a little arm off to the side and another little arm. Actually, this arm over here, we could probably just put down beside the character. We'll put it down like this, okay? And then we're going to draw the character looking like it's walking. So one leg comes on an angle forward, and one leg kind of looks like it's angled backwards like this. Meanwhile, we've got a little tiny hand, which is a thumb and a little mitten here, very similar, simple. And a little tiny hand, which is a thumb and a little mitten here. And a little tiny foot, which is just this like curved top or triangle that curves out off the back here. And then another one that comes out, down, forward, and up. Looks like that foot is bent just a little bit. Okay, so now we have somebody walking in a city, and we're going to draw our dog, Fido. Fido is kind of walking along beside us. And you'll notice that Fido is alerted to something going on over this way. So we're going to draw his head with a circle where the leash comes in. We're going to draw two little curved triangles like that for ears. We're going to draw a little nose that comes out and cuts off at the end. It's kind of like a triangle, and then you cut the end off. And once that triangle's there, you can erase where the circle was. and you can erase where the circle goes through the ear on the close side here. So there's our little dog, there's our person, and we're going to draw our dog sort of walking forward like we were. So we're going to make a little circular body, tiny little leg, and then we're going to make 3 little like clover blips for feet that are there, okay? And out the back, you might see another little foot with the little clover blip back there. I'm going to zoom in on that so you guys can see that a little closer. They're simple little clover blips. And then maybe you see a little tail out the back. Now, he's going to be looking off this way. We're going to give him a nice big round nose like this. And 2 little simple oval eyes. Okay? And we're going to draw little sort of lines around the nose here that show that he's smelling and that his head has turned this way. Like, what's going on over there? So he looks over this way. And you know what? The ones in the face don't even really add right now. So we're just going to make his nose look like he's smelling and he's looking off in that direction. You don't need to see the other foot because it's not necessary for now. So let's come back and see our basic look here. We've got Fido. We've got our city. This is our establishing shot. And we can, like I said, add all sorts of details, or we could have a subtitle up here. You know, like the bigger they are, the harder they fall, or something like that. And then some clouds, if you want to add a little cloud or two. Okay, we can have those up there. You could put a sunshine in there if you wanted to add a sunshine in between the two. Sort of like the sun's out, but there's a little bit of clouds. Those are the kinds of details that we'll come back through and add a little bit more once we're done. We want to have our character looking at our dog, actually looking forward right now because he's not aware of anything. He doesn't have super great smell or sense of smell. So let me zoom in just a tiny bit. You can add noses, you can add ears, whatever you want. I'm going to keep this character really simple. I'm just going to make 2 eyes and a smile. And why don't we make it look like ourselves? So I'm going to add a little ear, and I'm going to add a little goatee here with a little beard that goes up around the side. Okay, and then I'm going to come up and just give it some hair that looks like me. You know what you look like. You know what your hair looks like. Go ahead and personalize it to you. So here you are walking Fido. So that's me. I'm out having a good day, walking my dog. My smile might be just a little too accentuated there. Okay, so now we have to break into our overall story, and we want to lay some things out. This establishing shot usually takes the longest time because we've established where we are. And of course, it would take a lot longer if we were going to come to our vanishing point and draw some little windows or doors or other features that need to be in perspective as they go back to the vanishing point. All of those things are things that take time, and certainly you guys would be able to do that with a little bit more time after this. But let's come down here now. We have to get the action going. We've got our establishing shot up here. Now we have to get our action going. All of a sudden, the dog is going to pull away from us, okay? And when the dog pulls away from us, we want to draw convincing posture. So we start by drawing a head and drawing simple shapes, just like we did up here. So I'm going to draw my little rectangle here curved off to the side. So it looks like I'm being pulled this way. My body is now being yanked this way. So circle and a little curved rectangle. And I'm going to draw one little leg out this way. And I'm going to draw another little leg that's kind of like, whoa, what are you doing? Okay. And this foot is going to come out here, which is a little triangle like that. This foot is going to come down here, which is a little triangle like that. And my arm is going to come way out over here, and there's my thumb and my little mitten, way like that. And this arm is going to trail out behind me, kind of like, whoa, I'm being pulled along, like it was not ready for this. So I'm going to kind of put a long arm and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little triangles or sausages or little fingers basically out there. And they don't have to look perfect. You know, this doesn't look like an exact hand. It's enough to get the idea across to things. And then I'm going to draw my eyeballs. Okay. And I'm going to be saying something like, what is it, boy? So I'm going to have a mouth that's kind of asking a question. So it's going to go out and curve down and come back up. And then I'm going to fill it in with some dark. And again, we put an ear on it, and you go ahead and personalize it. You make it you. I'm going to make it look like me. It's got a little tuft of hair in the front here, or a little swipe of hair, curves around the back with hair. If you've got long hair or a ponytail, go ahead and add that in. I'm going to put my little goatee around here. Personalize it to you. If you got bows in your hair, if you're wearing a hoodie, whatever, put those things up there. If you have short hair or a hairband or any of those things, go ahead and add it. And we don't have to add a lot of detail right now to the body because these are stick figures. However, you can, later on, you could add some sleeves and make this a t-shirt. You could add some little boxes down here on the pants and put on shorts on the character. But this is just to show you how we're laying it out. So, establishing shot, me, I'm getting pulled to the side. And now we have to draw the pose of our dog. So we're going to go like this, all the way over to the leash. And our dog is over here. And he's got these little curved ears up here are now going to be curved back just a little bit. Okay, because he's a little bit mad or a little bit threatened or angry or going after something. We're going to come out like we would to a triangle and cut off the end. And then we're going to put a little circle out there. Okay. Now, we want to go ahead and make it look like he's running that way. So we're going to curve a little body like this. It's like a little bean. Whoop. And we're going to curve some paws down like this. And curve some paws backward like this. So now it looks like he's running that way. And we're going to add that tail off the back, almost straight back. It's a little curved triangle. And we're going to add a couple little lines going forward here. We'll put one eyeball and another eyeball and a little bit of an anger sort of eyebrow on top of it. Let me zoom in on that a little bit more so you guys can see. And then, if you want to, you can make a little tiny curved around mouth on the side with teeth and a line through those, okay? And those little clover paws, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so we've got us trying to hold our dog back. All right, you're going to be saying, what is it, boy? So we have to leave room for that and write it clearly so people can see it. We see him smelling up here. We see him taking off. What is it, boy? And sometimes you have to determine where you want your words to be exactly. Do you want them to go all the way across the top or be shorter and like 2 layers or rows? And then we're going to come around. We're going to make a little pointer to you. And then we're going to curve back around again up here. And then our dog, he's saying something too. He's saying, grrr. Now, at the end of every page, you want to make it exciting enough or interesting enough or pose a question or show some action that's going to move our reader through to the next page. So right now, we don't really have to draw any of the background because we know that the background is what was established up top here. We can just draw a little line through the background to give it a little sense of like it's in a horizon. And if we want, we can come down underneath and draw just a little shadow under us and under our dog's feet. So it looks like our dog is jumping off the ground and we're kind of on the ground. And we could have done that up here too, underneath the feet on the main picture. So now we've got a whole page of layout that's basically done. Take a look at this. Fido. Here we are walking down the street. What is it, boy? Grr, he's running to the side. So this is set up. Anything we want to do over here, we can add later. We can do all sorts of little awnings on things and curved tops and roofs, or add shade to our trees or things like that. And we'll come back and play with that a little bit if we have time. But I want you to get the layout of your stick figure graphic novel down. So we've established a shot. We've started the action. Now you can use different kinds of frames. So let's open up our page. And this is going to take 2 seconds too. We're going to have to draw one long parallel line all the way up the side. Okay, let me zoom down so you can see it all. There we go. And just about an inch inward, we're going to draw another one all the way up. And we use long vertical frames to show things that are tall, things that are falling, to add some emphasis or mood to things. So we're going to do 2 frames that go to the center of our page, okay? There's the crease in the center of our page, and we want this long, tall, thin frame. And then we want another long, tall frame that goes all the way up to the edge of the center of our page. Okay, normally I would give these to you preloaded, but since we don't know who's going to join us, we've got to kind of draw them ourselves. So long, tall one here, wide, tall one here. Okay, now we want to play off of what we did on the front page, which was, what is it, boy? Now we're going to have ourselves way down at the bottom here, okay? Tiny at the bottom. We're going to draw a circle for our head. And we're going to draw our body curved the other way now, like this. And our hand outward like this, sort of holding onto the leash. You don't see the dog in this frame. Our other hand down here. And we can actually draw, instead of a mitten, kind of little fingers down here because they look like they're hanging loose. It's sort of a sense of uncertainty. There's like a lack of determination or a lack of certainty in the hands when they're just kind of hanging there. Now we're going to draw down a leg and another leg. And the front foot comes in first, and then the back foot comes in. These are little triangles. So head, arms, legs, triangle feet. We're going to look upward like this, and we're going to make a mouth that kind of comes down like this. So it's like a curve down and then bow up and over. And then we're going to make a little spot for the tongue in the back, and we're going to fill that in. Okay? Again, you make you. I'm going to give myself a little beard. Okay? I'm going to give myself some little hair. And you don't have to make this specifically like lots of detail about you, just enough to get it, so sort of make it like a character that's different or interesting. Now, you're going to come up over top of the head and about halfway up with nothing else up here on the top. Let me zoom back out again. About halfway up, you're just going to write O. Period. And you're going to make a little circle around it and come down. All right? So now we've got this huge space. There's no reason to leave all of this space unless you're foreshadowing something. In other words, giving the idea that something big is happening or that you're looking up in the air. What we did was put one eye here and one here to make it look like the person was looking up in the air. And then what's fun is we can take this frame and connect it to this frame. We can actually draw the leash out like this into this frame. And we can draw our dog looking up and barking with his little cut off mouth there. So we've got a circle and a little trapezoid that comes out, or a triangle that's cut off. We're going to give it another little triangle on the bottom for the bottom of the mouth. We're going to give these ears kind of really tight backward triangles. And then we're going to erase where everything crosses over into the face. We've kind of put shapes together to create our little dog. And we have to think about the posture of the dog. This is all about getting the postures and gestures right for our animals and for our characters, excuse me. So we're going to have one little eyeball here, another little eyeball here. We're going to have some little angry triangle teeth out like that. And we're going to draw his little curved oval body. Okay. Tail off the back. One arm, two arms, one leg, two legs, or four legs, I guess. And we're going to draw a little clover, and a little clover, and a little clover, and a little clover. And he's going to be just like straining at the end of the leash, and he's going to be going bark, 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 bark. Okay, so we've got the idea now that this character and their expression are isolated. It's like, oh, and then we've got the dog barking, and we're going to reveal that our dog is barking at a huge dinosaur that's come into town. Now, on the front page, we established where we were. So we really don't have to draw too many different things in the background once we draw our huge dinosaur. So we're going to use this tall vertical space to make the point that our dinosaur is so big. So we're going to come way up top here, and we're going to draw a huge circle for the head of our dinosaur, okay? We can make this look any way we wanted, but let's come down and make him look kind of goofy, but kind of mean. We're going to make a little squiggly line off the front here, and then we're going to draw a curve for a nostril. And over here, we're going to draw another curve for a nostril. And we're going to come and make a little curve inside like that and like that. And then we're going to curve down and make a lip and curve back up into the circle and kind of angle down right at the end. Circle, squiggly line, nostril, nostril, curve down for the lip, and then squiggle back along the bottom of the front of the mouth. Okay, we're going to erase the circle inside here. We're going to come down underneath and make a lower lip or a lower jaw, little curve up, and then down into the back side of the cheek. And then up over top, almost all of the circle that we draw is going to be gone. We're going to end up making a little half circle with a flatter part on the other side here for the eye. We're going to make a big eyebrow over top of that, and then another little half circle out here coming down, and another little eyebrow coming down over top of that. We're going to draw great big pupils in there looking down at the dog and at the man or the woman if you draw yourself, if you're a girl. We're going to come off of that up and then down into a cheek, and then it's going to come around into a body. All right, and we're going to maybe erase part of the back of the cheek. So like I said, most of that circle that we use just to get the placement of this way up here is no longer there. All right, and so we can make him look more angry if we want to by taking that brow here and coming down deeper like this. Like, don't you bark at me, little animal. Okay, we can give him one or two little fangs out here and one in here, makes him look a little bit more dangerous, like this is the business end here. Okay, we're going to give him a neck that curves down and out. And then if you want to, you can come out and make little hands that have a V on the end. So we curve up and down, shoot, shoot, little W and back, out, and V in the middle and back. So here's our quick little dinosaur. So what we've done is we've isolated the emotion here. We've started to draw our dog barking here. And now the background, okay, all we need for the background is an outline of the city, because we've already drawn the city on the front. And if you want to, you can draw a little horizon line through that. And if you wanted to, you could actually draw our dinosaur sort of up near something that would maybe give it some size. If we wanted to put a light pole in here, maybe something like this. And up on the top, it's got a little, so we did 2 parallel lines, cut off the top, and then we do a little parallel lines out here. And then we draw like a light pole of some variety. We'd have to erase the city that goes through the light pole line, but it now gives some real size to our dinosaur. So there's our line. There's our base for our light pole. If you want to add a little curbside or something like that, because he was walking down the street in the first frame, maybe a couple little parallel lines down here for a curb. That gives it sort of a background feel. And again, you can have a cloud or two up here. Or you could have the dinosaur giving some growling back. Or maybe, you know, there's sort of a sense of anger, a little bit of a scratchy, like, I'm tired of this little guy barking at me kind of a thing up here. Okay. And now we've laid out a full page where we've got some real action going on. Let's carry the action on. We're going to go on to another kind of shot called a close-up. So we're on the second page here of our back end, and we've got about 23 minutes left, and we'll be able to just knock these out. We're going to draw one square here, which is half of the page space. And then next to it, after the gutter, this is called the gutter, we're going to draw another little, oh, sorry. I'm on the wrong page. I'm on the back page already. Keep the top. Did that totally wrong. We're doing the close-up on the back page. We are going to do 2 big frames on this page, and then we'll finish up with the close-ups on the last page. So I apologize. We're going to come down, and we're going to go half of the page like this, and like this, all the way down. Bring those 2 together and bring this across flat. And then down below that, we're going to come down, come across, and make this flat. So now we've got 2 big frames on this page. Let's come over here, and we're going to draw our dog getting away from us. And we want to draw action because the dog is pulling and jumping away from us. And we're going to be saying, no. We're going to say, Fido, no, something like that. So we're going to draw us right over here, sort of pulling back. We're nice and big. We're not going to see all of the dinosaur. Okay, and we're going to curve our legs back. So there's the head. There's the rectangle that's curved. And there's our feet. Okay, and over here, we're going to draw a little triangle for our foot and another triangle for our foot. And we're going to draw our hands out like this, like we're holding onto it with 2 hands, holding onto the leash. And we're going to draw our little mitten here and our little mitten over here. And then we're going to draw our leash snapping up here. And then over here, we're going to draw it coming out to our dog. All right, so we're going to have little lines. I'm going to zoom in on this. We're going to have little lines that come out from the area where it snaps. And we're going to write snap right through there. Snap. Okay. And over top of us, we're going to write Fido, F-I-D-O. ... No. And then we make our little word balloon that comes down around it, and we point it to us. Okay? And then we draw our eyes looking, and we draw our mouth horrified down like this, like, no. Draw a little tongue in there and fill it in. And then we add our own features real quick. So I'm going to add my goatee. I'm going to add my ear, going to add my beard, going to come up here and draw some hair on the side and a big tuft of hair. My hair might be just a little bit more unkept right now because, well, you know, I'm a little afraid of a dinosaur that's about to eat my dog. My dog who thinks he's some kind of a hero. Okay, so there's me. Fido, no! Now we want to draw Fido like he's going to war. All right, so we want to draw some action, and instead of trying to draw it and have it not turn out right, let's draw what's called a line of action. We're going to draw a line where we want the action to go. Like he took off from here and he's going and he snapped the leash. He's going so hard. So we want to draw our dog on that line. So we're going to draw the head like this. We're going to draw the nose out like this. Okay, we're going to curve that up and around and back down again for the mouth. So we get rid of the line of action through the head because we built the action of the character on that line. We built the head, we built the nose, and then we erase just a little bit around the mouth and open that mouth up like he's got his mouth open. He's got one little tooth, maybe two little teeth that are triangular, that are out and bared. We've got our nose. We've got our little tiny ears that are back because he's all angry. We're going to erase where the head hits the ear. Okay. We're going to draw the eyes. Big, angry eyebrows. And then we draw the body. And we draw the body right on that line. And we draw the tail coming right down. And we draw the arms or the front forelegs coming out this way and the back forelegs coming out this way. They're just two little lines. We draw one little set of clover paws and the other one behind. And then back here, one little set of clover paws and the other one behind. And we try to erase whatever's left of that line of action. That line of action helps us to get the look of this thing taken off, this little dog here, taken off in the direction of our dinosaur. Now, I've added what are also called action lines that show action when we're doing this. So there's a line of action that you build your action on, and then there is an action line. Let's come down here. We're going to do a close-up of the action, not a close-up of the character, but a close-up of the action. So we're going to draw with him taking off. And again, up here, you could add a little horizon line like this. We kind of established it again a little over here, so we don't need to add more than that. You can certainly, but you don't have to. Now down here, we're going to draw the big toes of our dinosaur. So we're going to curve out and around for a big toe. And then we're going to curve out and around for another big toe. And then we're going to curve out and around for another big toe that goes back. And then about halfway through these, we're going to draw a big curved triangle that cuts off at the end and a curved triangle that cuts off at the end. And these are going to be our claws. Okay? So we've got claws, and that comes up into a little foot that goes up this way, and a little angle like this, okay? So our dog sees the foot of this great big dinosaur, and he's not afraid. He's going to come right in and put his big old mouth and take a bite, or his tiny little mouth, and take a big old bite out of this toe, okay? So we've got our dog. We've got his nose. There's our triangle for the tip of the nose. We're doing a different angle. We're looking down on top, okay? We're going to see his eyes, and they're going to be little sprites like this. Let me go in close on that. So we've got our foot. We've drawn our circle for our nose. My nose is a little bit big here. Let me erase around the outside. We've got our triangle. We've got our circle for our nose. I left a little glint of light on the nose so it looks like it's kind of wet. That gives it a real look. And then we drew 1, 2, 3 little curves for the eyes. We're going to have the top of the head here and our little ears back like this and like this, okay? You can even draw a little tooth that's like sinking in there. And then you want to bring the cheek out just a little bit and down. So it kind of comes down underneath the edge of the foot and out here and down there. So it looks like he's chomping down. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to show some real motion. Okay. And then we've got to draw the rest of his body. I think it's fun, like he has jumped up here and is coming right down into the bite, to draw his little curved body back up here and his little curved tail back up here and one little leg and another little leg and clover, clover. And if you want to, you can have a little clover over here and a little clover over here. But he's all about going for the bite. And of course, we've got to accentuate that there's a bite here. So we're going to say chomp. Okay. And a little bit of background back here, a little bit of shadow underneath the foot goes a long way in giving it some realism. All right, so let's zoom back. And we've got a pretty good center spread. We got about 15 minutes, not quite 15 minutes left to finish off the last page. So we established, we laid out our title, established where we were, we started the action. We brought in the antagonist and we sort of added some mood to it. Then Fido takes off. This is the big climax of the action. He goes and chomps down on this dinosaur. And now we've got a flip for the last page. Up here on the top, like I was doing on the last page when I started to draw it wrong, let's make 2 frames that are squares up here for close-ups. 1, 2. And while we're making frames, while we've got them here, let's go ahead and make another big frame down here. And then we're going to finish off with one more. Now, we don't have to make frames all the time. This could be like no frame down here on the bottom. It could just be open. People do that an awful lot in graphic stories where there's like a frame missing and it's just characters in that area, and that's fine. But I wanted to show you kind of a layout because we're always going from left to right and top to bottom. And if we mess that up, sometimes people can't follow through our story the way that we want them to. So now we're going to come back here. We're going to see our dinosaur here changing close-up expression. So we want to get his expression. We're going to draw that circle. Okay. We're going to draw that nose kind of squiggling down, and then 1, 2 nostrils. 1, 2. And then we're going to draw that lip and squiggle it back up like this. And then we're going to draw a deep down sort of angry. This little thing just bit me on the toe kind of a feel. Okay. Let me zoom in on this. Okay. And we're going to draw that half circle eye, but a little bit deeper and up. And the half circle over here, but a little bit deeper and up. And now we are going to draw really deep, curve up off the top, curve up off the top, really deep anger eyes. Okay. We're going to draw pupils way down in the bottom. We're going to draw the bottom of his mouth coming down into the circle here. We're going to draw our teeth again like we had before. And he's thinking, I'm going to eat this little guy because he doesn't know who he's messing with. Okay, and we're going to erase a little bit of the cheek. And again, we're going to put like real anger out here. We're going to bring the body down. You're going to see a little bit of the arms. So they come out and there's a little W down there, a little W, and then they curve back in. All right. Now we've got this expression. What's neat is we can move through time. That's what the gutter here is for. We go over the gutter and it shows a second little bit of time. And we can show that actually now all of a sudden our dinosaur is starting to feel the pain of that bite on his toe. Okay, so we're going to draw that same circle, and we're going to draw that same little set of bumps and nostril out here, and another little nostril out here. And we're going to come down for the lip and curve around and come up and then down like this. So it kind of really goes high and down, almost looks like he's frowning or sad or something like that. And we're going to come around with the chin into the back end. And we're going to change those eyes to being nice, great, big circles with little dots in them. Like, ooh, I didn't expect that to hurt so much. We're going to curve the head up, around, and down. We're going to erase on the edge. Put his eyebrows way up high. And we're going to draw his body down here and his little arms that are those little W's again. These get pretty quick. But we're going to draw some little pain coming down from here. A little star and a little @ symbol and a little exclamation point. Like there's some pain coming down from underneath him there. You can see those. All right. So here he is angry. Here he is like, ooh. Now, here's where we wrap up the story, where the sort of idea of the story finishes. We're going to have to draw our whole dinosaur over here. There's his head. We're going to draw the general gist of his mouth with a triangle for right now. We're going to draw his body back and around another circle down here. Okay, so it curves out and around, and his neck curves out and around. He looks almost like a duck right now. Okay, and we're going to draw one little leg that curves around and comes down and curves out like this. And another little leg that curves out and down and around like this. And a tail that curves back up underneath it all and out and around like that. We'll put those two little curves down with the little W in between. Two little curves down with the little W in between. And once we've got that finished for the basics, we erase all the little parts of the circles and the things that we drew inside. So now, look, it's like our character is running away. Our dinosaur is running away. And we've got to draw our little tiny dog. Let me zoom in on this. Little tiny dog down here, okay? Ears back, little triangles, very tiny ear drawing. Little mouth open like this, little nose, bottom little part of the mouth open like this. Body off the back, two legs, little tail, and then little clovers down here. Two little eyeballs, and we're going to draw action lines like he's running. Action lines here like he's running. Okay. A little horizon line. And if you want to, just some little bits of the city in the background. Just a basic horizon line of the city is all you need. And all of a sudden it comes together to look like our little dog is chasing our dinosaur. We're going to give him great big eyes now because he's afraid of the dog. Little tiny pupils. We'll put his little nostrils out here like they're flaring, like, ah. And we can even make his lip kind of look like, ah. We're going to give him like a yell. So we make that lip come down and squiggle. And we bring it up and bring his lip down on the other side and around. We erase where we brought our first original triangle out there. We pull down a parallel line to this side of the mouth on the far side, curve the tongue around, and fill it up inside. So he's yelling, he's running away, and then we just have to fix the head to curve out and down and back out to the cheek and around like this. This comes down into his neck, and now a little bit of shadow down here makes it look like our dog is jumping up in the air, running so fast. This one can have a foot on the ground, and any details that we want in the background, like light posts or fire hydrants or things like that, can be added. Okay, and now the dog is taking off, and you can add a bunch of little bark, 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 bark. Okay, so there he is barking behind this guy running away. And guess what? We've got one last frame. This can be a close-up again that goes back to the original relationship. There I am. There's my body. There I am with my feet, little triangles. Okay, we've done this a lot of times, so I'm doing it quick. Circle, rectangle, 2 lines, 2 triangles. I am holding up my little dog. There's my little mitten for holding him up. There's my little dog. His head is looking towards me. He's got a big smile on his face and his mouth is open, so I'm going to curve the smile up. I'm going to get rid of the bump that I had there. Put his nose up here. Put his eyes up here. Erase the line that goes through the middle of the head that was our circle, because that was just a placeholder again. We do a lot with shapes, making placeholders. Now his ears are back to being happy, so they're kind of up forward again. Okay, we've got his body in our arms, like this. His little arms hanging off to the sides with little clovers. His little legs hanging down with little clovers. And I'm going to have my arms on the other side here. Probably should make it look like my arms or my hands are actually holding him up. So I'm going to put my hands up here and the arms over top like that. Okay, and now I've got to have me super happy because you just chased away the dinosaur in my life. I make 2 eyeballs. I make a little curve like a smile and then a deep V, the little upside down curve for the tongue. I put my ear on. You go ahead and make you, you. I'm making me, me, doing my beard. Doing my sideburns, coming up, curving across over top with the hair. Down on either side. Again, make your hair how your hair looks. And we're going to sort of have like a little bit of excitement by showing some little shaking here. I'm real happy. He's real happy. I'm like, hey. And then I say, good boy over here. I'm going to write, good boy. Do you want a doggy treat? And then he's thinking, seriously? How about a T-bone? Seriously? How about a T-bone? A T-bone is a steak. In the old days, they were more popular. Dogs like to gnaw on the bones. So here I am talking, good boy, do you want a doggy treat? And I can make a word balloon around this, or I can just make it attributed to me by putting a little line there. And then he, for his part, can be thinking, how about a T-bone? But he can have little thought balloons coming up to his mind there, okay? So now, we've gone through, in 1 hour, 4 full pages of basic layout, okay? We've got about a minute left, and I just want to show you, on this front page, you can add so many different details. You can start to get down underneath the bottom of your trees here and add some shadow and add some bits and pieces to the trunks of the trees. You don't have to do this right now, but realize that there's all sorts of things that you can do to make this look more realistic. Right now, we just were laying it out with stick figures, but you could do this same approach using little shapes to build things up for very realistic pictures, even comic book type pictures with muscles and so on, or even very realistic backgrounds. You could add a little awning off of the front of your building. We come from that vanishing point and make all the lines that come out go back to that vanishing point, and all the lines that are vertical go horizontal go off to the side. The ones that are in planes that don't go back into the background. So the walls here, you can add shadow between the buildings. You can add doors straight up and down and then come out and add doors. All of that adds more realism to the background. You can put lots of details in the background here. And you can play around with different kinds of frames and shapes here. So if you wanted to leave some of these open and have just a character that's laying on one frame and goes into another, it will lead the reader from the first frame to the other by following through the character to the other side. But today, you guys learned a lot. You learned about how to do your title and leave room for it, how to do an establishing shot, how to start the action, how to create some size by doing frames that are a little different, and how to create a little bit of mood by isolating one character, how to do lines of action so that you can get the action looking right as a character moves, how to get a different angle on a character and do a close-up on the action, and then how to do a close-up so that we can show the transition from emotions between one thing to another, and then finishing off with some basic straightforward action shots and up-close character shots. So pretty much that's it for today, guys. I do a draw club in Grand Rapids. Every week we meet on Thursdays from 1 to 3 for homeschool kids and from 4:20 to 6:10 for kids who are in public school. And any of you can come to any of them nowadays because some of you have online learning and so on. But the point is we draw every single week and we have a lot of fun doing it. And you guys are always welcome to come. If you're interested, look up my site, googenius.com, GOOGENIUS.com, and then click on the Draw Club link. And from there, I just want to wish you guys happy graphic novel drawing. If you can draw 4 pages, you can draw 100 pages. You just have to figure out how you want to lay it out and how you want it to look, and then how you want to finish up with the expressions and getting the characters to fit in the right spaces. And you've got the tools now. If you play around and practice with it, you're going to do awesome. Thanks for coming today. I hope you guys had a great time. If you ever have any questions, you can email me at toons, Toons, at googenius.com, GOOGENIUS.com. All right. Have an awesome weekend, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll see you later.